What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Mortal 74. I am Mortal, and this is going to be my very first pickups video, and it's going to be quite an epic one. Last weekend was the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, and me and my younger brother flew up there from Los Angeles, and that was my first gaming convention or expo, and oh my gosh, it was awesome. It was exciting. There was so much going on, so many vendors, so many games to buy and trade and all this stuff. And there were panels and stuff, but I didn't even have time for most of them. But let's just get into the games. What I picked up there, I picked up, I think, 38 games. Might be 37. But I got a lot, and I was shopping and trading all day on Saturday and in the morning on Sunday. So I did not pay cash for all of these, so it would have been very expensive if I did. But anyway, here we go. So let's start with the NES. So got a lot of NES stuff. I got a lot of the NES and Super NES, which I usually don't collect a lot lately because of the prices, and it's so difficult to find mint condition cartridges online and make sure from photos. So I got Karnoff here. Get that glare off there. Karnoff. Most of these look like I looked up gameplay of most of these, and they're almost all like 2D platformers, which is fine with me. I love that genre. So I got Rad Gravity. Now this one's really funny. So on the top it says Rad Gravity, but on the front, my brother and I were laughing because it says Rad Gravity, The Adventures of Rad Gravity. So glad to have that. Didn't have that. Been looking for this for a long time. Yo Noid, Domino's Pizza mascot from the 80s and 90s. Long forgotten, but not by the NES. Made by Capcom also, so can't be too bad. This was cheap. I found this mint condition Rampart. I looked it up online. It looks like a fun kind of tower defense game. That was pretty cheap. Air Fortress for the NES. So this was very cheap. I actually had a vendor throw this in to a trade that we were already making because it was so cheap. I wanted to see if I can possibly get an extra game out of the deal. So he only had $5 on this, so looks interesting. Got this one. I don't have 1 or 2 yet, which I'm also looking for, but got RoboCop 3 on the NES. This was interesting. I got this one on Sunday afternoon, right at the end before I was about to leave back for the airport. The vendor that I got this at, I traded a Shantae for PlayStation 4 from Limited Run Games. I got this and a couple other games for that, but they were very nice. Not much selection because it was Sunday afternoon, so most of their stuff had gone out by then, but I was able to find something. So RoboCop 3 on the NES. Found this pretty cheap. Never heard of it. Werewolf: The Last Warrior. Again, I looked up gameplay afterward. Another 2D platformer. Action platformer. Glad to have that. Found this interesting name, interesting label art, never heard of it, but it was one I didn't have in mint condition edition, so I got Mappy Land. It was pretty cheap. This one, was excited to find this. A lot of the NES stuff, like, I don't know a whole lot about because I kind of dropped off the map a little bit and started focusing on cheaper consoles to collect for because the NES and the Super NES just got so stupid. But I saw this movie when I was a kid, The Rocketeer, another 2D action platformer. Yeah, this was a cool movie. Looks like it was made by Disney too. It says copyright the Walt Disney Company. So, can't wait to try that one. And I only got 2 more NES games. Very common. Kind of surprising they weren't in my collection by now. I've been collecting NES for over 10 years, I think. These are so common that it is very difficult. I only collect mint condition cartridges, and that this game is so common that it's very difficult to find unmolested cartridges. But I've been looking for these for over 10 years. Ninja Gaiden, and its sequel, Ninja Gaiden 2. The Dark Sword of Chaos. Awesome. Really glad to finally have these. The original Xbox reboot is one of my favorite games of all time. Love Ninja Gaiden. And the sequel to that on the Xbox 360 is not too bad either. Those were all the NES games that I picked up, bought, or traded for. Let's go to the Super Nintendo. Now that's really rare for me. I have only bought one Super Nintendo game in the last few years, and that was Spider-Man, that I found at my favorite local gaming store in Covina, because the prices are insane, and on top of that, I think that Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis cartridges are by far the worst. They're just beat to shit. Like, you almost never find them in mint condition. I don't know what it is about those consoles, or maybe it's the shape of the cartridges. I don't know, but hard to find them in mint. But at Portland, there's just so much there. You can find almost everything there was in very good condition. So I picked up a lot of, I think 9 Super NES games, which is more than I've bought in like 5 or 6 years. So here we go. Supernova for the SNES. Supposedly it is a shmup. I think it's a horizontal shmup. Not sure. Picked up that. I found this, and this was a very sweet surprise. I did not know that they made this in a gray cartridge, and that is Spider-Man Venom Maximum Carnage. I've never seen this in a gray cart. It's always in a red cartridge. And the vendor didn't charge any extra for the fact that it was gray. I don't know. I'm OCD like that. I like all my games to be uniform and look the same, which is impossible on the N64. But on the Super NES, there's only a few colored cartridges, and I'm glad I could get this on a gray cartridge. Found this pretty cheap. It looks brand new, like it's never even been played before. Out to Lunch. Looks interesting. Samurai Showdown. Been looking for this. I never really played the series, but I'm familiar with it. I know it, know the name. Yeah, so Samurai Showdown on the SNES. This was pretty cheap. Okay, did some higher end trades for some of this stuff here. Alright, been looking for this for a long time. Hard to find. It's not super rare, but it is uncommon, and I've seen it before, but never in good enough condition for me. And that is Boogerman, a pick and flick adventure. Alright. Got this. Wasn't expecting to pick this up, but I actually needed a high dollar item to make a trade I was making fair. Mine was worth more than what he had that I wanted, and I found this, and this was brought it up there. So I got Final Fantasy 3 or Final Fantasy 6 in Japan. I've never played it. Here it's one of the best RPGs of all time, so can't wait to try this one out, as I do not have an SNES Classic. And then another one wasn't very cheap is Super Turrican. I looked up gameplay footage of this, and this game looks awesome. I'm excited to play this. They had the sequel there. A couple vendors had the sequel to this game. It's a lot more rare and a lot more expensive. It was very pricey, the sequel to Super Turrican on the SNES. Got this cheap to sweeten it, a trade. Bubsy. And this caught my eye because of the new game that's coming out for PlayStation 4. It might be on Xbox One also. New Bubsy game. So saw this, I have to start from the beginning. So got that. And my last SNES game is one I never knew was on there. It wasn't really that cheap, but it wasn't expensive either. Made a trade for it, and that is Rocco's Modern Life, Spunky's Dangerous Day. Now I'm not familiar with this game, but I am familiar with the TV show. It was an awesome show on Nickelodeon back in the 90s. 90s Nickelodeon was gold for all of you youngsters out there that don't know. Alright, I only got a few N64 games. Nothing spectacular. Two of them were just condition upgrades to games I already had, and those are Wave Race 64. Fantastic game, amazing racing game, amazing water physics on the N64. Turok 2 Seeds of Evil. Very common game, but it is a must-own on the N64. Fantastic first-person shooter. I also love the first game. Some people don't like it that much. This one's better. I've never played the third one, which is on the N64. I've never owned it, and I have that on my wish list. Didn't see it there at the expo. Might have been there, but I didn't come across one. So Turok 2. And then I did not have a copy of Perfect Dark. Mainly because of, again, looking for a mint condition cartridge, and also finding a mint cartridge that was not the million seller if they have like a label there or whatever. I don't want those. So if you can hear that, that's Miley making dinner. So never mind that.
Sorry.
Okay. I got a couple Dreamcast games that I had to throw in with a trade to make it more fair. Games I didn't have that I was looking for, so I got Prince of Persia, Arabian Nights, and Expendable. This game was also released on the PlayStation 1, but usually when games were released on PlayStation 1 or N64 and Dreamcast version is almost always better. So Expendable, let me get that glare off. There we go. By the way, I totally prefer the white format for the console. Not happy that they changed it to black, but what are you gonna do? Okay, Sega Genesis. So I'm a very new collector to Genesis. Just started this year, I think. Yeah, this year. So I was always a Sega hater, Genesis hater. Just saw it for decades as a poor man's SNES. Very, very wrong about that. The Genesis has its own personality, its own feel, and there are fantastic exclusive games on the Genesis. So the Genesis, like I said, for the SNES, the cartridges are just beat up. Like, it is so rare to find unmolested cartridges and labels, especially. But I was able to find a lot of them here. So at Portland, got this here. Very cheap. Beauty and the Beast, Roar of the Beast. This was more for Miley, because I got her the other Beauty and the Beast Genesis game, Belle's Quest, I think it's called. Big fan of the movie, so got that. I'll just put these over here. Beyond Oasis. Not cheap, but put it in or no, I paid cash for this one actually. So, but it's cheaper without the box and manual, so not bad. Beyond Oasis. Saw this. Don't know what it is, but the name is awesome. It was cheap. Mint condition. Atomic Robo Kid. Gotta try this out. Mystic Defender. Looked up some gameplay of this. The guy is doing a Hadouken or a Kamehameha like the whole time. This is like his gun is his hands. 2D action platformer where the guy just holds his hands out like this the whole time. Oh. Found this there. Been looking for this. Toki going ape spit. Clever play on words there. That's what the Genesis was all about. This game looks great. Okay. Got this very cheap. X-Men. I already have these all in plastic cases, so that's why there's all this glare on there. These last three have cases also, so I got the Cap Attack for the Genesis. I got Dinosaurs for Hire, with the case and manual. This actually had all the inserts in here. Some awesome posters too. One for Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and one for Jurassic Park. Been looking for this game. And then last one was Shining Force 2. Now this came with just the box, so no manual in here, but I really just need the cartridge, so glad to have that. Alright, we're coming to the end, finally, of all the pickups I got at Portland Retro Gaming Expo 2017, and the last one will be the crown jewel of my shopping and trading. So these are all Game Boy here, so I got Solar Striker. Put this in last night actually. Very fun, very simple vertical shmup. This is an early Game Boy game. Came out '89. I don't think it was a launch game, but almost. So Solar Striker on Game Boy. Saw this game, mint, never heard of it. Didn't notice how hilarious this cartridge is until much later at night. I was in my hotel room. It's called Hyper Load Runner. Now, I don't know if you can see that up close, but yeah, there you go. Look at the way that the gentleman on the front of the label is holding his gun. I don't know, pretty suggestive considering the name of the game. I had a good laugh with this one. Okay. This game here, Balloon Kid. I was at a vendor. I asked about this game because I try not to buy Game Boy games that, even though they're almost always different. There's a lot of Game Boy games that were released on the Game Boy and on the NES as well. And if that's the case, I kind of skip those Game Boy games. I kind of want Game Boy exclusive titles. So, Balloon Kid, someone else looking at games there told me it was a great game. I mean, I could have guessed this also, but it's a clone of Balloon Fight. So, Balloon Kid. Alright, one game left, and this was the heavy hitter. This was the big one. This was the one that made me nervous about how much money I was going to spend at the rest of the show. And as far as I know, it was the only copy of this game at the entire show. And it completed a subset in my collection. And damn, it was not cheap. And that is Shantae for the Game Boy Color. This was a big one. I'm not going to say what I paid, but I will tell you that he was asking $350. And I talked him down from that number. So we settled on a fair price. I traded a few games as well to lower the amount of cash I was putting out for the game. But this completes my Shantae collection. I have this. I have Shantae Risky's Revenge on PlayStation 4 from Limited Run Games, and I have Shantae the Pirate's Curse on PlayStation 4 from Limited Run Games, and then I have the latest one, Shantae Half Genie Hero on the Wii U. So I have all 4 games in the Shantae series. And this is obviously by far the hardest one, most expensive one to get. Hard to find in mint condition, hard to find in general, it's very rare. So, yep. Those are all the pickups I got from Portland Retro Gaming Expo 2017. It was a great time, great show. I don't think it'll be an annual type. For me, it's not an annual experience. I know a lot of people there go every year, but for me, it's kind of a, I don't know. It's more of a thing where I can find cheaper stuff locally. For me, it's more, I think I'll like save money for a few years, and that's a place to go to look for some of the heavy hitter items that you're looking for your collection, because most of the stuff there is in good condition, great condition, and there's a lot of rare games there for sale, or for trade. So because there's just so many vendors that there's going to be a wide array of options. I will say that it was mostly NES and Super NES heavy. There wasn't a whole lot of Genesis, wasn't a whole lot of Game Boy, wasn't a whole lot of N64, wasn't a whole lot of PlayStation 1, things like that. So looking for the heavy hitter NES games, heavy hitter Super NES games, that's where I think I would go to look for those. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up. It's been very long. I got so many games there, and that's it. That's all I got. Let me know what you think. If you like the games I picked up, let me know what some of them are like, if you like them, because most of these I have never played before. A lot of them I never heard of before. So because I focus on other consoles for price reasons. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much. Let me get the thing here, and I will catch you guys next time.